How's it going, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Arc. Now, the third fan vote return came back for the All-Star game last night ahead of the vote closing on Saturday, so essentially what has been voted on here is pretty much going to be the people that are going to start the game and are going to be the captains, and that'll all get announced tomorrow. I know from looking at this, there's a few people that aren't very happy about the fan vote, and I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like when it comes to picking the rest of the team, I know NBA GMs do it, the teams do it, the players do it, but I feel like they kind of have a bit of an influence on the fan voting. Like, they use the fan vote to influence it, you know, because in the end, it's the fans that want to play. But I will get into that a little bit more later on in the video. But before we get into it, make sure you're liking and subscribing onto the YouTube video. Comment down below what you want to see from me over All-Star Weekend and heading into the second half of the season. And once again, like I said at the end of last video, I am now a lead writer on the website BBL Daily for the Manchester Giants, so British basketball. Maybe coming to the channel soon. If that's what you guys want to see, leave a like, comment down below, and yeah, make sure you're checking out the website, checking out what I've been writing on the Manchester Giants, and yeah, maybe check out what the Manchester Giants are doing this year, because the BBL is on the rise. But today's all about the NBA, and it's all about the NBA All-Star Game. It's one of the biggest events of the entire calendar year when it comes to basketball. And yeah, just 24 of the NBA's elite players and Andrew Wiggins maybe coming together to play some fun basketball. It's always fun to watch because there's some amazing highlights. Steph Curry gets to shoot from half court and make it, you know, just like he does in the regular games, you know, like he did last night against the Celtics. But yeah, it's always crazy. And what's more crazy is the fact that the fans get to vote, and we get to see who the fans really want to start. And we're going to start with the East. And for the longest time, literally ever since fan voting opened, up until last night, Kevin Durant was the man who led the way for the Eastern Conference. I've got the voting on my phone. It'll be on the screen pretty much throughout the whole video, so if you guys want to check it out, it's on the screen, have a look. Kevin Durant led for the most time, but now the third vote returns come in one day before the All-Star captains are announced, and it's Giannis Antetokounmpo that leads by just over 100,000 votes. I mean, the guy's almost got 6 mil. I mean, LeBron actually has 6 mil, I think. Yeah, LeBron's got 6.5 mil. The voting in this year has been absolutely mental, but Giannis currently leads with 6 mil, which means that he is in line to be the All-Star captain. If I'm honest with you, I don't mind who's captain out of Durant and Giannis. I feel like Giannis is having a better season, but equally, you know, KD has a lot of fanfare. It'd be understandable if he got voted in. He was the All-Star captain last year, which then led to LeBron just assembling the Avengers for his team, picking Giannis and Steph and Luka. It wasn't fun. So maybe it'll be a bit more fair this year with Giannis being the captain. And also, I think out of everybody in the NBA, maybe other than Nikola Jokic, Giannis is probably the funniest NBA player. The one thing you can't bring to them is that they aren't media trained. These guys know how to react in front of a camera. They're funny people. It's always entertaining when they do the All-Star captain draft. Whether it be KD and LeBron, or Giannis and LeBron, or even LeBron and Steph, back when they first started doing the fan votes. So yeah, I'm fine with Giannis being an All-Star starter. Kevin Durant was probably going to end up being a starter from the start of the season. We know how good KD is, and with Brooklyn actually having a winning record this year, it was kind of inevitable that he was going to be an All-Star starter. We'll see how the winning record has impacted Brooklyn's All-Star chances when we look at the guard spot. But I think it was always going to be Giannis. It was always going to be KD. Who is it going to be between Embiid and Tatum? And Tatum didn't start last year. Embiid started last year. Understandable. Embiid had a near MVP season. When it came to the All-Star game last year, the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum's team, they were having a losing record. They weren't doing very well. So Embiid being picked over Tatum was kind of understandable. But this year, the Boston Celtics have the best record in the NBA. And Jason Tatum is having an NBA-like season. However, up until the third return, Embiid had the most votes over Tatum. And it was kind of a case of Philly fans versus Boston fans in the way of, why isn't Tatum on the starting line? You know, why isn't Embiid going to be starting? All that kind of, you know, pay stuff. And now Jason Tatum at the moment leads over Joel Embiid by about 200,000 votes. So the likelihood is that Jason Tatum is going to start. And I think he deserves it, in my opinion. I don't think Embiid's having as good of a season compared to Tatum, in my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my opinion on the All-Star fan votes. Tatum deserves a starting spot. And so that it looks like they're going to start, and then Embiid is going to round out the bench alongside two other people. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit strange when it comes to the front court in the East. It's dominated by 4 people, and I'm not saying that the rest of the front court picks aren't good enough, but it's just when you look at the people that are there, maybe Jimmy Butler's going to be in there. He probably should be. But then maybe you're looking at someone like Kyle Kuzma, who's having, not a most improved player like season, but he's showing up for the Washington Wizards. You've got an outside pick like Paolo Banchero, the rookie out of Orlando, who is showing that he's going to be a franchise player very soon. And then Nicholas Claxton, who I don't know why Nicholas Claxton's there. I mean, he's a solid player, but not an all-star. I think that it should, alongside Jimmy Butler, it should be Julius Randle, though. The New York Knicks need some representation at this all-star game, and it doesn't look like Jalen Brunson's going to be it. So why not have Julius Randle get there for the second time in his career? I think it should be Julius Randle rounding it out. We won't know the rest of the all-star lineup until probably the start of February, maybe the back end of January. So we never know what's going to happen. But I think Julius Randle deserves it in the guard spot, and I feel so sorry if you're a guard in the NBA, because there is going to be so many notable snubs. I'd personally take 5 front court members and draft 7 guards if it was me, because there is so much talent in the guard spot. You've got Kyrie Irving and Donovan Mitchell, who have dominated the top 2 positions throughout the whole fan voting, so they're probably going to be starters. And let's be honest, Donovan Mitchell's having a very underrated season. Like, he was in the news a lot at the start of the season, then he kind of fell off, and then he hit 71 against the Bulls, and then he is a legitimate scorer in this league, and yeah, he deserves to start in my opinion. Maybe he'll actually get picked over someone, because he doesn't play for Utah anymore, because LeBron just doesn't like Utah apparently. And then Kyrie Irving, I mean, he was like 4th in All-Star voting last year, and he didn't even play a game before the All-Star break, so he does have a lot of fanfare around him, and he's a good player. So fair enough, Kyrie. I think he deserves to start as well. And then it gets crazy. You've got Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Trae Young, DeMar DeRozan, Tyrese Halliburton, Zach LaVine, Darius Garland, Jalen Brunson, LaMelo Ball, and then Derrick Rose is there because everyone loves Derrick Rose. But who do you pick out of them? You're gonna see a lot of notable snubs. I don't think anyone from Chicago is going to be in the All-Star game this year. That might be a hot take. DeMar currently is 6th in the All-Star fan voting. He won't be picked to start, but maybe that'll influence the GM's pick on who fills out the rest of the roster. I just don't think DeMar's having that good of a season compared to last year. Jalen Brunson's not even in the top 10 vote, which I think is criminal. But when you look at everyone in there, only Derrick Rose is probably the person that you take out. I think Garland maybe isn't having as good of a season, was injured at the start, so maybe this isn't his year. I feel like Halliburton should be an All-Star. The Pacers definitely need some love in the All-Star game this year, in my opinion. So I feel like Halliburton should be there. And then obviously you have the likes of Trae Young, who is an All-Star level player, and so is James Harden. So that's probably who I'd go around that one out. The 4 bench guards that I'd pick is Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Trae Young, and Halliburton. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Jalen Brunson, LaMelo Ball, Darius Garland. They're not in, and that's a lot of high quality players that aren't going to be in the All-Star game. But that's just the cruel reality of the fact that the NBA is probably at its strongest at the moment, in my opinion. That might be recency bias, but there are so many great players that aren't All-Stars because they're just better players out there, unfortunately. Over in the West, and the same kind of carries on over there. In the front court, you know how I was on about it, it's dominated by 4 people. Only 4 front court players in the East had over 1 million votes. Out west, 7. I mean, should it be 6 of those 7? I'm looking at it. I don't think Wiggins should be an all-star again this year, even though he has 2.1 million votes. And I don't know if Paul George should be an all-star either. I don't know about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But LeBron James is like 1 million votes ahead of the second highest out west in Steph Curry. So he is definitely going to be the captain and a starter because it's LeBron James. That's kind of a formality. Nikola Jokic following just behind him. And then it's really a toss-up. You know, I was saying that this third vote return could really tell us who's going to start. Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson at the moment are separated between, let me do some quick maths here, 78,000 fan votes. That can change in about 2 days. You know what I mean? So Zion might be starting, if not AD's going to start, but is AD even going to be fit for the All-Star game? So maybe Zion will start anyway. You know, you always have people that get replaced due to injury, which is a shame. But I'm kind of using this as like, if no injuries existed, who do I want to be all-stars? So I'm gonna just take it. I think Zion's gonna start. You know, I think Zion's gonna pip AD to that third spot in the voting. So I think Zion's gonna start. I think he deserves it. The Pelicans are playing quite well this year. Zion is that guy. And you know, when you think all-star, you think flashy moves, you think Zion Williamson, really, don't you? So yeah, Zion definitely to start, which will leave AD on the bench alongside 2 others. And in my opinion, Lauri Markkanen definitely needs to be there. Lauri Markkanen is having a great season. You know, people are like, who's going to be most improved player? You know, it really is a toss-up between, you know, this person and this person. It's Lauri Markkanen, and it should be Lauri Markkanen. And if it isn't Lauri Markkanen, then something's wrong. So Lauri Markkanen definitely should be there. And if I'm honest with you, I'd put Domantas Sabonis rounding it out. The Sacramento Kings need someone on the All-Star game this year. The Beam team is flying. They're gonna break the playoff duct, in my opinion, and they should have some representative in the All-Star game. And whilst Domantas Sabonis is only 10th in the voting, I think he's done enough to warrant a place over the likes of Paul George and Andrew Wiggins. Paul George being an all-star snub, that's a very tough saying to say. An all-star snub for Paul George, that's tough, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, there's so many great frontcourt players that are even in the top 10 voting, you know, the likes of Karl Anthony Towns. Yes, he's having a down year, but it's still cat when you know, at the end of the day. And then players like Jaren Jackson Jr., which is also very hard to say. You know, he's the best defender in the league. I think he should be DPOY this year. You know, the amount of blocks that this guy does, it's unbelievable how good he is at defense. And the Memphis are having a great season, currently in the midst of an 11-game unbeaten run. So yeah, I mean, there definitely should be some Memphis representation, which is going to come through the form of Ja Morant out in the guard spot, but he won't start because he is like 3 million votes behind the second place Luka Doncic. Luka didn't start last year. Let's be honest, Luka definitely should be an all-star starter for the rest of his career. And it's probably when Steph retires, that's when Ja's going to join him. Steph currently leads guard voting, although Luka not too far behind, about 200,000 fan votes behind. That's definitely not going to change, but, you know, Steph's been running away with it recently, so it's nice to see that, you know, someone's at least challenging him for a top guard vote. Not that it matters, they're both going to start anyway. And then, again, so many elite players in the guard spot. Ja Morant is definitely going to be there, in my opinion. He has to be. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he definitely has to be there. The OKC Thunder, they might not be having the best season, but Shai is like averaging near 30-point games, left, right, and center. He's going to be a franchise player once they put the pieces around him. You know, there's no doubt in it. And then really, it is just a toss-up. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is just going to miss out. And then it's really between Devin Booker and Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is averaging like 30 points in the last month or so. He put up a 50-piece in a game where they lost by like 14 and it got no media coverage. Like, literally the most casual 50-piece you're ever going to see. Devin Booker, he isn't. I mean, he is injured at the moment, so it might end up being a formality that Dame is going to take that place. But you never know. You never know. You never know. I think if Devin Booker wasn't injured, it probably should be D-Book over Dame. The Suns aren't playing that well though, but you could say that's because D-Book ain't playing. You know, they've started to lose games because Devin Booker's been injured. It really is a toss-up. This is probably the toughest pick, in my opinion. I think if Devin Booker isn't injured, it should be Devin Booker. But I won't be surprised if Dame's in there. You know, Damian Lillard is a perennial all-star. Yes, he's in the back end of his career, but he's still averaging near 30-point games. I just think people are expecting it from him almost now, so it's not as surprising as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing it. I think that should be it. I mean, Russ has got good voting, Klay Thompson has got good voting, and I'll talk to you a little bit why I don't like that. Golden State fans, I respect the dedication, but Klay Thompson isn't an all-star anymore. Kevon Looney isn't an all-star. Jordan Poole was top 10 fan voting in the first return. He isn't an all-star. We got to the point. Golden State had a negative record, and their starting five and their sixth man were in the all-star votes. Why? It's crazy, and I feel like because Golden State are on telly a lot, they get views from casual fans, and then they vote, you know, the players that they've seen do well. I don't know, fan voting is a very good thing. I think it's nice that the fans get to choose who they get to see in the All-Star game, for the majority of it at least, but it does come with its flaws. I don't know how you fix it, but I think it does need to be fixed. I mean, because Austin Reeves, why is he in the top 10 over someone like Anthony Edwards or CJ McCollum? But yeah, that is my opinion on who should make the All-Star game. The All-Star starters are going to be announced tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see who starts out of Davis and Williamson and who starts out of Embiid and Tatum. That's kind of the other things that are going to be in the air tomorrow. I feel like Giannis is going to end up being the All-Star captain, but I guess that kind of is up in the air too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and it'll also be interesting to see who gets announced and who gets snubbed from an All-Star appearance. That'll be the end of today's video though. Let me know what you guys think about the third return of fan voting for the All-Star game down below in the comments section. Make sure you're leaving a like on the video, subscribe for more BTA content, and make sure you're checking out my articles for British Basketball Daily. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.